So we want to know what people's main drivers are. But the same token, what drives them away? What do they avoid? And you can learn a lot from what they love, what they don't like. That will tell you, the relationship between those will tell you an awful lot. All right? What do you think that means, that relationship? Torrin, you've got a good idea, haven't you? Sorry? He's not listening. No, about the relationship between somebody who really loves doing something, but also what do they avoid? What do they avoid? What don't they like? Because this is ultimately about enjoyment. You know, things that you value most are generally your strengths. We're talking character traits here, aren't we? Yeah? So if I've got somebody who's really, I don't know, strongly self-motivated, for instance, they're real drivers, okay, but they can't handle stress. What's that likely to turn out like? Huh? It's going to be a problem. Take somebody who's, and again, you see this in the you know, the helping professions, you know, like not-for-profits and people who are serving coffee and what have you, is they're extremely helpful. They're very accommodating. But if they're not willing to put themselves into the equation as well, then they end up being somebody's doormat. They end up doing things at their own expense, which has its own set of problems. Okay? So there's lots of different examples of how that works that we need to take into account. And if you know what they are, then that makes your whole process easier. And of course, to begin with, you need to identify what the job actually entails. So very well saying I want a coffee assistant, but what does a good person selling coffee or serving coffee, what are you looking for in that person? Helpful, you know, outgoing, you know, friendly, warm, you know, good motivations. What don't you want? You don't want someone who's selfish, yeah, can't handle pressure, those sorts of things. If you can identify those and you can measure the sort of traits that you're looking at, then that, you know, that's a good predictor. Yeah.
So I have a question about that. So
sure.
Typically, it's been a long time since I had an interview, but when you go in for an interview,
yeah,
you go in thinking, I'm going to talk about what I like and things like that. So
yeah.
If an interviewer was to flip that and said, tell me the things you don't like, I wouldn't have a script pre-written for that. So that actually gives the interviewer a lot more insight into that person because they don't have a script pre-written.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd be interesting to understand if anyone went into an interview and went, I'm going to tell them what I hate.
Look, and you're perfectly correct, which is why I teach what I teach, is that we want to know this up front so that when you go into an interview with somebody, or at least a second interview, you're armed with a bit of knowledge here. You know what they don't like. You know what they do like. Then you're able to ask the right sort of questions, you know, behaviourally based questions that will dig in. Right? So whether I don't care what tool you use, it really doesn't matter as long as it will tell you what you need to know.